We've made it through part 1 and part 2 of the story of God's love. God has now taken his promise from the Garden of Eden into a specific family, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob's family. Then he made that family big into a great nation. Then he saved them from slavery in Egypt with the great deliverance through the Red Sea, which points us ahead to the great deliverance that will come through the promised one, the Messiah, Jesus. And then, after wandering for 40 years in the wilderness, this promised people, they finally come into the promised land under the leadership of Joshua, whose name is the same as Jesus' name, Yeshua. So it seems like the story should end here. All right, God made a promise. He brought his people into the promised land, and they have rest on every side. But it doesn't work out that way, because God's people aren't completely obedient to him. They don't drive out all the sinful practices and sinful nations. And now the promised land becomes a place that was only a shadow of what was to come, a shadow of the paradise restored that God would give in the end. So now we enter part 3 of the story of God's love, which is the Judges. In the story of the Judges, the various judges, the rulers that rule over the people of Israel during this time, we see a people struggling to maintain faithfulness to God. And so you got a map in the story of God's love. There you are, and you could check in your copy how it's divided among the tribes. Some of these judges are in particular places here, so they could be working at the same time or different times. And here's the introduction from the story of God's love. The Judges and 1 Samuel. Even though God had kept his promise to give his people the land of Canaan, the people did not remain faithful to God. Time and time again, they went after other gods. Time and time again, their idolatry led to disaster as other nations oppressed them. Time and time again, they turned back to God for help. And time again, God sent them a judge, a deliverer, to rescue them. While these judges are very flawed people themselves, they give us little pictures of God's great deliverer, Jesus, sent to rescue his people from the oppression caused by their sin. So as we go through part 3, look at how God's people always need to repent, we do too, and turn to God who delivers us. When we turn back to him, he always delivers us, in their case through judges, but that was pointing ahead to Jesus, our great deliverer. And after we finish our wandering in this life, which is not the true promised land, God will take us to be in our eternal home with him. God bless you as you continue in the story of God's love.